Listen closely, my child. The moment you are experiencing right now is not something that happened by accident. You did not arrive here by chance. There is a reason you are hearing these words at this exact time, Sky. Because something has been quietly moving in your life. Something that may not be visible to everyone, but something that has never been hidden from God. There are moments when life feels ordinary, Sky, when days pass without any clear sign that anything is changing. But sometimes beneath the surface, something greater is already being prepared. This moment may be the beginning of a new chapter, a turning point that has been forming through every season you have walked through, so stay with this message. Open your heart and allow yourself to listen. Remember that every step you have taken, Sky, even the difficult ones, has been seen. The struggles you carried, the battles you fought silently, and the moments when you felt like you had no strength left were never ignored. God knows the weight you have carried. He knows the exhaustion that settled deep within you. But today, this message is not about focusing only on your pain, Sky. It is about remembering the strength that brought you this far. There were moments when you stood even though you felt weak. Moments when fear was louder than hope, yet you still chose to continue, Sky. There were small acts of courage that nobody else noticed, quiet victories that only God saw. You may have carried heavy burdens for a long time, Sky. But today, you are reminded that you do not have to carry everything alone. Perhaps you have wondered whether your prayers were truly heard. Perhaps in the quiet hours, Sky, you questioned whether anyone understood the thoughts you could not express. But hear this clearly. Your words were never lost. Your prayers were never invisible. Even the feelings you could not explain, Sky, even the emotions hidden deep inside your heart were known. You were never speaking into emptiness. The tears you held back, the pain you hid behind a smile, Sky, and the moments when you tried to stay strong for everyone else were all seen. God did not turn away from your struggles. Instead, He came closer, not with judgment, but with compassion, Sky. Not to remind you of your failures, but to remind you that your story is not finished. You may ask, why now? Why this moment, Sky? The answer is because sometimes people reach a place where their own strength is no longer enough. Plans fail, answers disappear, and the things that once gave confidence begin to fall away. It is often in those moments that people discover they were never carrying everything by themselves. When human strength reaches its limit, faith begins to reveal something deeper, Sky. The promises you once carried in your heart have not disappeared. The dreams you buried because you stopped seeing a way forward have not been forgotten. What seemed delayed does not always mean it has been denied, Sky. Every act of faith, every sacrifice made quietly, every time you chose kindness when it was not returned, and every moment you continued despite disappointment had meaning, Sky. Your story will not only be remembered for the struggles you faced, it will also be remembered for what God brought out of those struggles. The labels people placed on you do not define you, Sky. The words spoken against you in moments of anger or misunderstanding do not determine your future. What others saw as your ending does not have to become your reality, Sky. A new chapter can begin when you allow yourself to release the weight of the past and trust the direction ahead. There is a difference between standing near what God is doing and fully stepping into it, Sky. The difference is not luck or coincidence. It is the willingness to trust, to receive, and to let go of what no longer belongs in your life. You have spent time waiting, Sky. You have endured seasons where answers seemed distant. But waiting does not mean nothing is happening. Sometimes the quiet seasons are where the deepest preparation takes place, Sky. God sees the questions you have kept inside. He sees the moments when you wondered if your life truly mattered. He sees the battles that nobody else recognized. Now, Sky, you are being reminded to release those questions and open your heart to what has been prepared. There were moments before when you stood at crossroads, uncertain about which direction to take. Sky, you wondered if the voice encouraging you forward was truly the right path. You questioned your decisions and doubted yourself. But this is a moment of clarity, Sky. A moment to let go of the thoughts that told you that you were not enough, that you were too far behind, or that your best days were already gone. Those thoughts do not have the final word. You are deeply loved, Sky. You are not forgotten. And your journey is still unfolding. Hold on to faith. Release the fear that has been controlling your steps. The future ahead is not built by the mistakes of yesterday, Sky, but by the purpose that continues to guide you. Because sometimes the greatest transformation begins in the very places where you thought everything was falling apart. My beloved child, Sky, there are places inside your heart that even you have been afraid to enter. Hidden rooms filled with old disappointments, painful memories, unanswered questions, and moments you never fully understood. Sky, these are the places where you stored the things that hurt you the most, the experiences that changed how you saw yourself and the world around you. But God does not enter those places with judgment, Sky. He enters them with compassion. He does not come to remind you of everything that went wrong. He comes to bring healing to the areas where you have carried pain for too long. Sky, there were moments when you felt completely exhausted, when you had no words left to pray and no energy left to explain what you were feeling. Yet even in those silent moments, your heart was still reaching out, Sky. Even when you could not speak, your struggles were understood. God sees beyond spoken words. He understands the silence, the hidden emotions, and the battles that nobody else knows about. He saw the moments when you smiled in front of others while carrying pain inside. He saw when you tried to appear strong because you did not want anyone else to worry. And instead of walking away, he moved closer, Sky. What looked like a broken season to you may have been the very place where something new was being prepared, Sky. What felt like an ending may have actually been the beginning of a transformation that you could not yet see. You may have wondered why certain things did not happen sooner, why certain prayers seemed unanswered, Sky, why some doors remained closed even when you desperately wanted them to open. But sometimes timing has a purpose. If everything happened exactly when you wanted, Sky, you might have believed it was only because of your own strength, your own effort, or your own ability. But after walking through difficult seasons, Sky, you begin to recognize that some changes can only come through something greater than yourself. Now you understand that your journey was not meaningless. Every setback, every delay, every disappointment, and every closed door was part of a process that shaped you. It taught you patience. It strengthened your character, Sky. It helped you understand the difference between depending only on yourself and trusting something greater. There were moments when you felt like giving up, Sky. Moments when you decided you could no longer wait because waiting itself had become painful. You wondered if the things you hoped for would ever happen. But while you were losing confidence, Sky, something was still being built within you. Your name was not forgotten. Your journey was not overlooked. The things happening quietly inside you mattered, even when nothing around you seemed to change. Sky, this is not just another ordinary day. It represents a shift in the way you see your story. The pain you experience does not have to be the final chapter. Sky, the rejection you faced does not have to define your identity. The unfair situations you endured do not have to determine your future. Sky, what others intended to use against you can become part of the story that shows your growth and strength, not as a reason for revenge, but as evidence that difficult seasons can produce something meaningful. Sky, if you are still listening, allow these words to settle in your heart. There is a reason this message reached you. Take a moment to reflect on what you have carried and what you are ready to release. Your past does not control your future unless you allow it to. The mistakes, Disappointments and painful experiences behind you do not have the authority to decide where you go next. Guy, you may have lost things you deeply valued. You may have watched plans collapse. You may have experienced people leaving your life without giving you the answers you wanted. And yes, those moments hurt. Guy, but sometimes losing what you depended on creates space for something stronger to be built. Sometimes the foundation has to change before something more stable can be created. Guy, there were storms you thought would destroy you. There were seasons when it seemed like everything around you was falling apart. Relationships changed. Opportunities disappeared. Guy, doors that once seemed open suddenly closed. You looked at those moments and asked, why is this happening? Where is God in all of this? But while you saw confusion, God saw preparation. Guy, the storm was not necessarily a sign of abandonment. It was a place where strength, faith, and understanding could grow. The difficult moments were not meant only to break you. Guy, they were opportunities to discover that you were never walking alone. Sometimes people expect immediate answers. They want the situation to change quickly. They want visible proof that everything will be okay. But sometimes the first thing that changes is not the situation around you. Sometimes the first transformation happens inside you. Your character changes. Your perspective changes. Your faith becomes stronger. Your ability to recognize what truly matters becomes clearer. And one day you look back and realize that you are not the same person you were before. The wounds that once controlled your choices no longer have the same power. The words that once destroyed your confidence no longer define you. The prayers you speak now come from a deeper place of trust. That is proof that the storm did not defeat you, it shaped you. The things you lost, the plans that failed, and the people who walked away may have felt like the end. But they may have also been clearing the path for something new. What you wanted was comfort, but perhaps you were being prepared for purpose. What you desired was immediate relief, but perhaps something deeper was being formed. The storm was not the final destination. It was the doorway to a new understanding. After the confusion comes clarity. After the struggle comes growth. After the difficult season comes the realization that you were never abandoned. You can now see the strength that remained after everything was tested. You can see the parts of yourself that became stronger because you refused to give up. Every experience had a purpose. Every challenge taught you something. Even the moments you did not understand can become part of a greater story. Nothing you went through has to be wasted. The tears you cried, the lessons you learned. And the strength you discovered can become the foundation for what comes next. Now is the time to stop looking only at what happened behind you and begin preparing for what is ahead. You were created with purpose. You were not meant to remain trapped in old pain forever. The same experiences that once made you question yourself can become the experiences that help you encourage others. The journey was not only about surviving, it was about becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the future. And now the next chapter begins. My child, understand this clearly. What happened in your past does not have the authority to decide who you become in the future. The difficult seasons you walked through were real. The pain you experienced was real. And the moments when you felt lost were real. But they were never the complete story of your life. There is a difference between being wounded and being defeated. You may have been hurt, disappointed, and tested, but you are still standing. The fact that you continued moving forward, even when you did not have all the answers, is proof that something stronger was working within you. There were moments when you believed your dreams were gone. Times when you looked at your situation and thought that maybe it was too late, maybe the opportunity had passed. Maybe the best days were already behind you. But what you could not see was that some things were not being taken away from you. They were being prepared for the right moment. Not every delay is a denial. Sky. Not every closed door means the end of your journey. Sometimes a delay protects you from entering a place you were not ready for. Sky. Sometimes a closed door redirects you towards something that better fits the purpose ahead. You have spent seasons waiting, serving, giving, and continuing without recognition. Sky. There were times when you helped others, but felt forgotten yourself. You showed kindness when nobody thanked you. You remained patient when others would have walked away. Those moments mattered. Sky. Even the things done quietly have value. The sacrifices nobody saw, the choices nobody praised, and the faith you carried when there was no immediate reward were not meaningless. Sky. There are seasons in life when people only see the outside. They see where you are standing, but they do not see what is happening inside you. They see the waiting, but they do not see the preparation. Sky. They see the silence, but they do not see the growth taking place beneath the surface. But God sees it all, the same way a seed grows beneath the soil before anyone sees the plant. Sky. Your life can also be developing in ways that are not immediately visible. A hidden season does not mean an empty season. Sometimes the most important work happens when nobody is watching. Sky. You may have felt overlooked. You may have wondered why others were moving ahead while you seemed to remain in the same place. But comparison can hide the value of your own journey. Sky. Your path is not measured by someone else's timeline. What has been placed inside you still has value. The purpose within you has not disappeared because of mistakes, failures, or difficult years. Sky. A season of struggle cannot erase what was created with meaning. You may have buried certain dreams because disappointment became too heavy. You may have convinced yourself that some things were no longer possible. Sky. You may have accepted a smaller vision for your life because hoping again felt too painful. But a dream that has been delayed is not always a dream that has died. Sometimes hope becomes quiet. Sky. But it does not disappear. There is still something alive within you. The experiences you survived, the lessons you learned, and the strength you gained have prepared you for what comes next. Sky. You were not created only to survive challenges. You were created to grow through them, to learn from them, and to use what you have learned to bring encouragement to others. Sky. Your restoration is not only about receiving something back. It is also about becoming someone who can give something meaningful to others. The pain you experienced can become wisdom. Sky. The challenges you overcame can become encouragement. The moments when you felt forgotten can become the very reason you notice those who feel forgotten today. Your story can become a source of hope. But remember, Sky, moving forward also requires letting go. There are things you cannot carry into a new season. Old fears, old labels, old beliefs about yourself, Sky, and old wounds that continue to control your decisions must be released. Not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Some things leave because they no longer belong where you are going. Sky. Some relationships change, some connections end, some opportunities disappear. And although those moments can be painful, they can also create room for healthier things to enter your life. Sky. Do not hold on to everything simply because it is familiar. Growth often requires change. There may be people who do not understand the transformation happening inside you. Sky. There may be people who only know the old version of you and struggle to accept the person you are becoming. But you cannot remain who you were simply to make others comfortable. Sky. The next season of your life requires honesty, clarity, and a willingness to walk forward. What was lost during the storm was not necessarily your purpose. Sky. Some things had to fall away so that you could recognize what truly matters. Now you are being reminded of something you may have forgotten. There is still value inside you. There is still potential inside you. Sky. There is still a future ahead of you. You may have spent so long focusing on what went wrong that you forgot to recognize what remained. Your strength remained. Your ability to hope remained. Sky. Your ability to love, learn, and continue remained. That is not a small thing. Many people are shaped by their circumstances. But your circumstances do not have to control your identity. The experiences you faced can either become chains that hold you back or lessons that help you move forward. The choice begins with how you see yourself. Stop believing the voices that told you your story was over. Stop accepting the idea that your past mistakes are stronger than your future possibilities. Your life still has chapters waiting to be written. The season of hiding is not permanent. The season of preparation leads somewhere. The quiet work happening inside you has a purpose. And when the time comes, the growth that happened privately will become visible. People may only see the result, but you will remember the journey. You will remember the nights when you had to keep going without answers. You will remember the moments when faith was difficult, but you continued anyway. And you will understand that every step was shaping you into the person you were becoming. The story is not ending where the pain began. The story is continuing with a new direction. My child, there is a deeper truth you must understand. The season you have walked through was not only about what you lost, it was also about what was being built inside you. Sometimes the greatest changes happen quietly, away from attention, away from applause, and away from the eyes of those who never understood your journey. There were moments when you felt invisible. You gave your best, but nobody noticed. You supported others, but when you needed support, the room became silent. You carried responsibilities that were never recognized, and you wondered if anyone truly saw your effort. But your value was never determined by human recognition. The things done with sincerity are never meaningless. Every act of kindness, every sacrifice, every moment when you chose patience instead of anger. And every time you continued, despite disappointment, shaped the person you are becoming. You may have felt forgotten, but you were never forgotten by God. There were times when you questioned why your path looked different from others. You watched others receive opportunities while you were still waiting. You watched others move forward while you felt like you were standing still. But what appears to be stillness can sometimes be preparation. A tree does not become strong by growing quickly. Its roots must first become deep. In the same way, some seasons are designed to strengthen what cannot be seen before anything visible begins to change. The foundation matters. And now you are beginning to understand that the difficult years were not wasted years. They were shaping your character, strengthening your faith, and teaching you lessons that comfort alone could never teach. You are not the same person you were before. The person who once felt completely broken has gained wisdom. The person who once feared every challenge has discovered courage. The person who once questioned whether they could continue has already proven that they can. Your survival itself is evidence of growth. Now, do not allow fear to convince you that your best days are behind you. Do not let old disappointments become the limits of your future. There is still purpose ahead. Many times, people stop themselves because they believe they have missed their moment. They believe age, mistakes, failures, or lost opportunities have disqualified them. But your purpose is not controlled by your past. A person can begin again. A person can rebuild. A person can discover new strength after seasons of difficulty. The chapter that caused you pain does not have to be the chapter that defines you. What you experienced can become preparation for something greater. The rejection you faced can teach you compassion. The obstacles you overcame can teach you resilience. The moments when you felt alone can help you recognize others who are struggling. Your story can become a bridge for someone else. But before you help others, you must allow yourself to heal. You must stop carrying the weight of things that were never meant to remain with you forever. Release the guilt, relent the fear, Relent the belief that you are permanently damaged because of what happened. The past may explain some of your struggles, Sky, but it does not have the power to control your future. You are allowed to move forward. There will be people who do not recognize the changes happening inside you. Some may only remember your old struggles, Sky. Some may continue seeing you through the lens of your past, but you do not have to live according to someone else's limited understanding of you, Sky. Growth often means leaving behind the version of yourself that was created only to survive. Now you can become the person who was created to live with purpose, Sky. There are moments when doors close because they are protecting you from places that no longer fit your future. There are moments when people leave because their role in your journey has ended. Sky, not every ending is punishment. Some endings are preparation. Do not spend your life trying to reopen doors that were closed for a reason. Do not keep chasing what constantly takes away your peace, Sky. There is wisdom in knowing when to release. The new season requires a different mindset. It requires you to believe that something better can exist beyond what you already know. You cannot walk into a new future while constantly holding on to an old identity. The person who was hurt, rejected, and disappointed is part of your story. But that is not the complete picture of who you are. Sky, there is more. More growth, more purpose, more opportunities to use everything you have learned. The same experiences that once made you question your worth can become the experiences that reveal your strength. Sky. You may look back one day and realize that the things you thought were breaking you were actually preparing you. The delays taught patience, the struggles taught endurance, the disappointments taught wisdom, and the waiting taught you how to trust beyond what you could see. Now the focus changes. Instead of constantly asking why things happened, begin asking what you can build from them. Sky. Instead of only remembering what was lost, begin recognizing what was gained. Because even through difficult seasons, something valuable remained. You remained. Your ability to believe remained. Sky. Your ability to love remained. Your ability to start again remained. That is the foundation of a new beginning. The next chapter is not about proving yourself to those who doubted you. It is about becoming who you were always meant to become. You do not need everyone to understand your journey. You only need to continue walking faithfully. Sky. The same person who survived the storm is now stronger because of it. The same heart that was wounded can become a heart that brings healing. Sky. The same story that once carried pain can become a story that inspires hope. And as you move forward, remember this. The difficult season was not the end of your journey, Sky. It was the preparation for what comes next. My child, the moment has come to understand that everything you have walked through was leading you toward a deeper purpose. The pain, the waiting, the uncertainty, Sky, and the seasons when you felt forgotten were not the final definition of your life. They were chapters in a much larger story. You may not have understood every step while you were living through it, Sky. There were moments when you questioned why certain things happened and why certain doors closed. But now you can begin to see that even the difficult roads taught you something valuable, Sky. The journey shaped your heart. It taught you patience when you wanted immediate answers. It taught you strength when you felt weak. It taught you faith when there was nothing visible to hold on to, Sky. And now you are being reminded that you do not have to remain trapped in the identity created by your past experiences. You are not only the person who struggled. You are not only the person who was rejected. You are not only the person who faced disappointment. You are also the person who continued. You are the person who stood back up. You are the person who kept moving even when the path was unclear. Sky. That perseverance matters. There are things you learned in your hardest seasons that cannot be learned in comfort. There is wisdom that comes only through challenges. Sky. There is compassion that develops only after you have experienced your own moments of pain. And now those lessons can become something meaningful. Your story is not only about what happened to you, Sky. It is also about what you choose to do with what happened. The wounds that once made you feel powerless can become reminders of your strength, Sky. The moments when you felt overlooked can help you see others who feel unseen. The seasons when you needed encouragement can prepare you to encourage someone else. Nothing has to be wasted, Sky. Even the hardest experiences can become part of something greater. But remember, moving forward requires trust. You cannot build a new future while constantly returning to the pain of the past, Sky. You cannot fully receive what is ahead if your heart is still holding tightly to what already ended. There is freedom in releasing what you cannot change, Sky. There is peace in accepting that some chapters close, because another chapter needs space to begin. Not every person who leaves your life was meant to remain forever, Sky. Not every opportunity that disappeared was meant to be recovered. Not every dream that changed direction was destroyed. Sometimes life removes things because something different is being created, Sky. The future requires you to step forward with an open heart. Do not allow fear to convince you that you are too late. Do not believe the lie that your mistakes have removed every possibility ahead, Sky. A new beginning does not require a perfect past. It requires the courage to move forward. Many people spend their lives trying to become who others expect them to be, Sky. But true transformation begins when you understand who you are beyond the opinions of others. Your worth was never created by people's approval. Your purpose was never dependent on everyone understanding you, Sky. There will always be people who question your journey. There will always be people who cannot see what is happening inside you. But their inability to recognize your growth does not make your growth any less real, Sky. Continue walking, continue learning, continue becoming. The season of waiting has taught you lessons that will serve you in the season ahead. The silence that once felt empty was not meaningless, Sky. It was a place where your character was strengthened. Now carry that strength with humility. The purpose of growth is not to make you feel above others. It is to help you become someone who can serve, encourage, Sky, and bring hope. What you receive is not only for yourself. Your healing can become someone else's encouragement. Your experience can become someone else's lesson, Sky. Your testimony can become someone else's reason to keep going. The things you once wanted to hide may become the very things that show others what is possible. Because people connect with honesty, Sky. They connect with real stories. They connect with someone who has faced difficulty and still found a way forward. Your journey has meaning. The tears you cried, the battles you fought, Sky, and the moments when you continued despite uncertainty have all shaped you. Do not look at yourself only through the lens of what was broken. Look at yourself through the lens of what was rebuilt, Sky. You are not standing in the same place where you started. You have grown, you have changed, you have learned, and now you can move forward with a clearer understanding of who you are, Sky. The future is not something you have to fear. It is something you can approach with faith and courage. The same strength that carried you through yesterday can help you walk into tomorrow, Sky. So release the weight you were never meant to carry forever. Let go of the voices that told you your story was over. Let go of the fear that says nothing can change. Your story is still being written, Sky. The chapter of pain was real, but it was not the conclusion. There are still moments ahead that can surprise you. There are still lessons to learn, people to meet, and opportunities to discover, Sky. Walk forward knowing that your past is behind you, but your purpose is ahead. The difficult road did not destroy you. It prepared you. The waiting did not erase your dreams. It strengthened your foundation. The struggles did not remove your value. They revealed your resilience. And now as you step into what comes next, remember that you are not walking empty-handed. You carry the lessons, the wisdom, sky, and the strength gained from everything you have overcome. This is the beginning of a new perspective, a new way of seeing yourself. A new willingness to believe that something meaningful can still come from your journey. Keep moving forward. Keep trusting. Keep growing, because the story is not finished. The best chapters are often written after the moments when you thought everything had ended.